Welcome to Mr. English Hub. I'm Paul.
And I'm Rachel.
So today we're really diving deep into what I think is the biggest hurdle for so many language learners.
That mental middleman.
Exactly. That constant, exhausting habit of translating every single thought from your native language before you actually speak English. You know the one.
Oh, definitely. It's like this internal bottleneck, isn't it? And it's not efficient.
Not at all. It slows you right down, leads to all those hesitations, and honestly, it makes conversations feel pretty unnatural.
And it's tiring. Your brain is doing double duty, constantly trying to map one language system onto another.
So our mission today is to really break this down. We're looking at techniques, some research and practical tools, including, believe it or not, cartoons to help you skip that translation step.
Yeah, the goal is to help you start thinking directly in English. That's where real fluency begins.
Okay, so cognitively speaking, what's the core problem here? Why is translating just bad?
Well, fundamentally, it's about automaticity, or the lack of it, really. Translation turns speaking into this complex step-by-step calculation instead of an instant reaction.
I like comparing it to learning a new skill, like maybe driving a manual car for the first time.
That's a great analogy.
You know, you have to consciously think, okay, clutch in, now shift, ease off the clutch, add gas. It's all very deliberate.
Right. And that's your brain translating. Fluency is when you just drive. You're not thinking about the clutch anymore. It's instinct.
So in language, the goal is connecting the idea, the image, the feeling directly to the English word.
Exactly. Cut out that middleman completely. Instant connection.
Makes sense. But why do we get stuck on translation in the first place? It feels like such a natural default for learners.
Well, the sources we looked at point to a few key things. First, it's just plain habit. It feels safer, like you're in control.
Right, minimizing mistakes.
Yeah, and second, sometimes it's a genuine lack of vocabulary. You reach for a concept, the English word isn't there, so you grab the native one and try to translate it.
Okay, what else?
Third is grammar differences. If your native language structures sentences differently, you're constantly doing this mental gymnastics to rearrange things into proper English.
Ah, that mental rewrite. Yeah, I can see how that slows things down.
And the fourth one, which I think is maybe the biggest barrier, is the fear of making mistakes. That drive for grammatical perfection.
So you translate meticulously to make sure it's correct, but it completely stalls the conversation.
Exactly. Speed and flow just go out the window. The goal has to shift from perfection to communication.
Okay, so automaticity is the target. How do we actively, rewire our brains to get there? What's the first practical step?
The most powerful starting point, according to the research, is actually pretty simple. Self-talk, or narration.
Just talking to yourself in English.
Yep. It ties into something called the output hypothesis in language learning.
Output hypothesis. Okay, break that down a bit.
Basically, the idea is you learn not just by taking language in listening, reading, but crucially, by forcing yourself to produce language, to use it.
So talking to yourself forces your brain to organize thoughts using the English you already have.
Precisely. Even if it's limited English, you're practicing retrieving words and structuring thoughts in English.
But hang on, isn't there a risk? If I'm just talking to myself in, broken English, aren't I just reinforcing bad habits?
That's a really common concern, and it's valid. But the key, especially at the start, isn't grammatical perfection. It's about getting the flow going.
Okay.
So you start super simple, just label things around you, look at your desk, laptop, cup, pen.
Right, just the nouns?
Then you move to simple actions. I am picking up my mug. I am opening the window. Maybe even I anticipate meeting coffee soon.
Okay, I can see the progression.
Exactly. Words first, then simple sentences describing what you're doing or seeing. Then you push yourself. Try describing your whole morning routine, maybe.
Like, I woke up, I brushed my teeth, the water was cold.
Yeah.
That kind of detail.
Yes. Even tiny details. I knocked on the door. I felt myself dozing off. The consistency of producing English, even simple English, starts automating the thought process.
Okay, that makes sense for starting out. What about for people who are a bit more intermediate or advanced?
There's a great technique we found mentioned by Rachel's English, actually. Spontaneous conversational questions.
Okay, how does that work?
You basically practice answering random, everyday questions, but the rule is think only in English. No translating the question, no formulating the answer in your native language first.
So if the question is, what's one thing you hope to achieve this year?
Yeah, maybe you can only think of keywords initially, like promotion, travel, learn guitar. That's okay.
So the focus isn't a perfect sentence, it's forcing the thought to happen in English.
Exactly. It's about thinking on your feet in English without that detour.
And there was another interesting application of this.
Yeah.
Using English for decision making.
Right. This is a bit more advanced cognitively, trying to say, weigh the pros and cons of something, maybe planning a trip or deciding on a purchase entirely in English.
Because that requires more careful analytical thinking.
Yes. And that deeper cognitive processing in the target language really helps solidify those English thinking patterns, more so than just casual chat sometimes.
Okay, so self-talk, answering questions, making decisions, these help us practice thinking in English. But how do we break that fundamental link? Seeing an object and immediately thinking of the native word first.
That's the core issue, isn't it? How do we stop linking dog to Perot or chin or whatever and link dog directly to the furry four-legged creature?
Yeah. How do we forge that direct connection?
This is where visuals and the concept of dual coding theory come in.
Dual coding. Sounds fancy.
It's actually pretty intuitive. Developed by Pivio, it basically says our brains process and remember information better when it's encoded in two ways, verbally and visually.
So instead of just word-to-word translation, you link the English word to an image, a concept, a feeling, a sound.
Exactly. So when you hear park, you don't just think of the translated word. You picture green grass, maybe smell cut grass, hear kids playing, feel the sun.
Maybe anticipate a squirrel encounter.
Right. You create a rich, multi-sensory connection directly to the English word, bypassing the translation.
Okay, cool theory. How do we actually do that? What are the tools?
The tools are designed to force this direct link. First, picture flashcards. But the key is no translations written on them, just the image and the English word.
Got it. Picture of an apple, word apple, nothing else.
Precisely. Second, and this is crucial, use an English-to-English dictionary. Look up English words and read their definitions in English.
So you stay entirely within the English system. No escape hatch back to your native language.
Exactly. It forces your brain to figure out, meaning using the English it already knows.
Mm-hmm.
And third, the classic sticky note method.
Labeling everything in your house.
Yep. Stick a note that says mirror on your mirror, refrigerator on the fridge. Seeing the object and the English word together repeatedly builds that direct visual association.
It sounds so simple, but it's about that constant exposure, isn't it? Creating an English bubble.
Absolutely. You don't need to move to an English-speaking country. Change your phone language. Change your computer language. Write your shopping lists in English. Journal in English. Listen to English music or news passively.
Immerse yourself wherever you are.
The more you surround yourself, the more your brain just accepts English as a normal part of your environment, not some foreign code to be deciphered.
Okay, speaking of media and visuals, this is where it gets really interesting and maybe a bit more fun. Let's talk about cartoons.
Right. Cartoons aren't just for kids. Well, not always. They can be incredibly powerful language learning tools.
And there's research to back this up.
Oh, yeah. We found studies, like one in the Mextisol Journal, showing animated videos significantly boost vocabulary retention compared to just, say, audio or text.
Wow, significant.
And another source, I think it was linked to Cambridge University, suggested cartoons could improve vocabulary retention by as much as 40% over traditional methods.
40%. That's huge. Why are they so effective?
Well, it aligns perfectly with something called the direct method of language teaching.
Which focuses on?
On developing oral skills, teaching concepts inductively, meaning you figure out rules from examples and using real objects, and visual aids. Cartoons provide constant visual context for the language.
You see what's happening, you hear the word, instant connection.
Exactly. The action on screen illustrates the meaning of the dialogue.
So, okay, let's get specific. What cartoons should learners actually watch? Does it depend on their level?
Absolutely. For absolute beginners or maybe very young learners, you want something super simple and repetitive. Think Peppa Pig.
Right. Very basic situations, family life, lots of repeated phrases.
Or something like Bluey. It's Australian, so you get some cultural flavor, but it's very visual, lots of context, simple language around play and family. Cocomelon, too, with its musical element, works for the very basics.
Okay, what about stepping it up? Intermediate level.
Here you can start getting into things with a bit more slang or specific concepts. SpongeBob SquarePants is surprisingly good for picking up colloquial expressions and cultural references, even if it's bizarre.
Definitely bizarre. Any others?
Bob the Builder. It's focused on problem solving, so you get dialogue related to tools, construction, teamwork, very context-specific vocabulary.
Okay, makes sense. And for advanced learners looking for more complexity.
Now you can tackle shows with faster dialogue, more complex plots, idioms. Gravity Falls is brilliant for this witty, fast-paced, great vocabulary.
I've heard good things about that one.
And you can't go wrong with a classic like Scooby-Doo. It's timeless, and you'll definitely encounter plenty of idiomatic expressions, meddling kids.
Right, so the visual context really helps unlock the meaning, even for tricky idioms.
That's the power of it, immediate audio-visual association.
So it sounds like the richer the visual, the more advanced the audio-visual technique, the better.
Right.
Like sophisticated animations with sound should be the peak learning tool.
Well, that's what you'd logically assume. More input, more stimulation, better learning. But here's where we found some really surprising counter-evidence.
Oh, do tell.
There was a comparative study done with young Iranian EFL learners, so true beginners. They compared two methods for teaching vocabulary.
Okay, what were the methods?
Group A got the high-tech treatment, animated slides using an overhead projector, clear audio pronunciation playing alongside the animation, pretty sophisticated AV stuff.
All right, sounds effective. And Group B?
Group B got something much simpler. Still pictures. Basically, colorful, clear, attractive drawings or photos with the English word written clearly underneath. Think really nice flashcards, but maybe shown projected.
So static images versus dynamic animation with sound.
Mm-hmm.
The prediction would be that the animation group learned more.
That would be the logical prediction, but the result was the complete opposite.
Really?
Yeah. The group taught using the simple still pictures significantly outperformed the group that got the complex audio-visual aids.
Wow. Okay, why? What was the thinking behind that?
The researchers suggested a few possibilities. For these absolute beginners, the still pictures might have been more novel and perhaps just more attractive visually, but crucially,
Yes.
they thought the simplicity was key. The still pictures required less cognitive processing. The complex animations and sounds might have actually been distracting.
Like sensory overload, too much going on, so the core vocabulary gets lost.
Potentially, yes. The brain was trying to process the movement, the sound, and the word, maybe overwhelming the working memory. The simple static image provided a clear, uncluttered visual anchor directly to the word.
Huh. So for beginners, simpler might actually be better for making that direct word-image connection permanent.
It seems so, at least according to this study. It suggests that just because a technology is more advanced doesn't automatically mean it's more pedagogically effective, especially at the very early stages.
That's a fascinating insight. Don't just chase the fanciest tech. Think about the cognitive load.
Exactly. Focus on clarity and direct association first.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. We've covered a lot of ground. What are the main takeaways for someone listening right now who wants to ditch that mental translator?
All right, quick review. First, immerse yourself. Create that English bubble change, device settings, label things, listen passively, make English normal.
Second, practice output actively. Use self-talk and narration. Describe your world, your actions, your thoughts in English, even if it's simple.
Third, consciously connect English words to images, feelings, concepts, not just translations. Use picture flashcards, no L1. Use an English dictionary.
And fourth, leverage visuals. Use targeted media like cartoons that match your level, or even just simple, clear, still images, especially when starting out.
And maybe the most important final thought, be patient. Thinking in English is a skill, like any other. It takes time and consistent practice.
Right. Don't aim for perfection straight away.
No.
It's going to be messy.
Totally messy. Allow yourself to think in broken English or just keywords sometimes. The goal is progress, not immediate, flawless internal monologue. That automaticity comes from repetition.
So don't let that fear of sounding imperfect stop you from trying to think in English. Focus on the flow.
Exactly. Consistent practice is the only path.
Okay, so here's the challenge for everyone listening. Pick one simple thing you do every single day. Making coffee, checking your phone notifications, walking to the bus stop. Just one small routine. And for the next week, actively narrate that entire routine to yourself, silently or out loud, only in English. Start building that direct, instinctual connection today. What's one small step you'll take?
We'd love to hear what you choose. Let us know about the routine you picked in the comments below. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
We'll see you next time on Mr. English Hub.